Next, we're going to go over a division rivalry. We have the Detroit Lions at the Green Bay Packers. First injury of note is Kenny Golladay is a non-participant in practice right now, so gonna have to continue to monitor his status. If he is playing, that's a guy that you play almost week in and week out. But let's go over to the QBs. I'm sitting Matthew Stafford in this one. I have a lot of faith in the Packers defense. They gave up some late points to the Vikings last week against Kirk Cousins, but I think they got a little lackadaisical. Overall, the Packers have a really strong defense, and I'm benching Stafford, who struggled against them last season. Aaron Rodgers should absolutely shred the Lions. We saw Mitch Trubisky throw for 3 touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers looks like a man on a mission right now, so he's a top 10 QB play for me. Really like his matchup in this one. For the running backs, the Lions are also have a pretty rough run defense, so I think Aaron Jones could be in for a nice week. On the Lions side, I think it's tough to trust any of the Lions running backs right now. I think you gotta watch out for DeAndre Swift. Do not drop him. He reminds me a lot of Miles Sanders last year. Just kind of, he's gonna get his snaps, be involved, but at some point, maybe in the second half, maybe sooner, maybe later, we don't really know. But at some point, Swift is taking over this backfield, and he's gonna be huge. He actually led the backfield in snaps last week. He had a 40% snap percentage, AP with about 32%, 25% for Kirion. So Swift was the leader. This was a three-headed monster, but Swift was the biggest head of that monster. So I expect that share to continue to increase as we move forward. So don't drop him yet. Like I said, right now it's hard to trust any of them. If you have to trust one, trust Swift in a PPR league. He's the most likely to be involved in the passing game. So a little bit of upside there. For the wide receivers, if Kenny Golladay misses again, Marvin Jones is a solid volume play. I'm personally not trusting these other wide receivers yet. I know Danny Amendola led the team in passing or receiving yards last week in the slot, so he may have an advantage going against the Packers this week. Maybe a deep PPR play. We saw the Packers give up quite a few yards last week to Adam Thielen, who plays in the slot a little bit. So maybe Danny Amendola in a deep PPR league as a sneaky play. Marvin Jones, like I mentioned, he's more of a volume play. He's going to be the number one option as long as Kenny Golladay is out. On the other side, we have Davante Adams. You're playing him. He's one of the top wide receivers. All of our rankers actually had him as their number one wide receiver this week, so he's a no doubt play. Behind him, I know some people, and there's been some injuries. People are banged up. A few people have asked me if they can play Valdez Scantling or Alan Lazard. I mean, maybe you can play him in your flex. I think it's a risky play. Scantling looked like the number two option. I'm just not sure if I trust it yet. So, long term, if we see another week where Scantling is clearly the number two target, all right, let's roll. But as of this point, I mentioned in the last episode, a lot of fantasy is balancing that risk and reward. And are you risking Scantling and Lazard putting you up a big dud? No, but at the same time, this is a favorable matchup, which is one of the reasons why I say if you don't have a better option, there's nothing wrong with playing Scantling or Lazard in your flex this week. That's only because of the matchup I can say that. I mean, Aaron Rodgers had 4 touchdowns last week. I think he could do it in back-to-back weeks. I think that's how bad the Lions secondary is and how good of a game Aaron Rodgers could have. On the tight end side, we'll start off with the Packers because there's not much to talk about there, but there's no Packers tight end that you're trusting as of right now. None of them have really emerged. On the other side, TJ Hawkinson had a nice week one. I like him a lot. I mentioned this on a few of our shows. As long as Galladay is out, there's a lot of red zone targets to go around. When you have Hawkinson, Galladay, Marvin Jones, these are all big guys that want to eat in the red zone. So you saw Hawkinson with a touchdown last week. I think that's going to be a common theme if Galladay continues to miss time. So if Galladay is out, Hawkinson's an absolute yes for me. If Galladay is in, you're going to have to see how that dynamic plays out. Hawkinson isn't as surefire of a play. Still think he's the number three option in this passing game, but I don't know if you can completely trust him yet. So if you have a better option and Galladay's in, you can roll somebody else out. Moving over to the kickers, Mason Crosby is an absolute yes for me. I mentioned I like the Packers scoring a lot of points this week, so that means a lot of points for Mason Crosby. Matt Prater, I mean, he's a guy you play almost every single week. Week in and week out, he's a top 10 play. And do I think the Lions are going to score a ton of points against the Packers? Probably not, but they may also get stalled in the red zone and close and in field goal territory, so they may have to kick quite a few times. So Matt Prater, it's hard to bench him because he's as consistent as they come. Defense, if I had to pick one, the Packers. They're the better defense. The Lions did struggle a little bit against them last year, so I don't mind playing the Packers defense. More of a back end D1. And then I've mentioned it several times. The Lions are going to get shredded this week, so obviously not playing their defense. So I think that's all that I have for this one. So let's move on to the next one.